What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about if we should even get a Scream 6. So this is something I was thinking of now because I think the answer here is going to depend on who you are. And I think there's two very easy answers to give, but I want to go more in detail, okay? Because I think one thing you could say is yes, of course, Scream 6 should happen. Now, this is not saying, like, will it happen or, like, is it going to happen? I think it's going to happen. No matter what, I think we're going to get the next Scream movie. I mean, it maybe won't be called Scream 6, and it'll probably be called Scream subtitle, right? Something. But I do think we get one. But the question is, like, should it actually happen in terms of the quality, what this franchise deserves, right? So I think an easy answer from some people would be yes, give it to us. Like, there's no doubt Scream is back. On the other hand, there could be people that say no, like, just leave it, stop making them, like, there's too many, or you don't want to release them too fast back to back, or whatever. Easy answer, no, right? I think, to me, the answer is a little bit more complicated. Now, do I want another Scream movie? Yes, for a couple of reasons. Number one, I do want to see more. Number two, I do think they planted seeds of potential and things that I think could be really exciting and keep with Scream, but also do some very different things. And that's really going to be, I think, my central argument for why I think there should be, or why they can keep going and maybe try to appeal to everybody. At the same time, I do understand the idea of leaving it alone. This movie was very much mixed. It definitely was. I mean, some people loved it. I was going to say love it or hate it. Well, that's exactly what people are doing. Some people love the movie. Some people hate the movie. And I get that. A movie that comes back, and this is the second time now that it's come back, like 10 or so years after the last one, and you do that twice, and it's like, okay, well, I guess now you really do either keep going or you literally just stop. Like, for the love of God, stop these. You can't keep doing it like this forever. So I get both sides, and I've seen more than enough people on both sides. Obviously, the people that say not to do it, I think they stand out a little bit more on Twitter, mainly on Twitter, of like, this movie wasn't very good or whatever their reasoning may be, and to stop it. I would say, again, the more detailed approach I would have for going in the future is they did do enough in this movie, I think, to make it interesting going forward. I also think from a behind-the-scenes, and I've said this before, from a behind-the-scenes perspective, again, love it or hate it, you have to know or understand. You don't have to like it, but you at least have to understand. Like, bringing the franchise back, same thing back with Scream 4. The plan is not to bring the franchise back after so long, put all this money into making it, getting this new cast, especially this one, right? New cast, establishing these characters, because at the end of 4, the idea was originally to make Jill live, but she ended up, or maybe they could have brought her back because they didn't shoot her in the head. I don't know necessarily what they would have done if they made 5 right after that version of 4, but this one definitely has, I think, more to it leading into the next era. And you also have to think from like a marketing or just money perspective. Like, well, number one, Ghostface is always going to be around, right? And Scream is always going to. It is one of those cultural icon, horror franchises that are never going to go away. So, from a money making perspective, of course you're going to bring it back with the intention to make more movies. Like that to me, that's never been. It's not. Yes, it is a love letter to Wes, and they say that, and I do think they meant it. And I think they tried their hardest, but in reality, nobody at the top of like an executive group here, okay, or Paramount or whatever, nobody okays this with the intention of sinking all this money in just to say, we appreciate Wes and we're going to do like a love letter and we're done with the franchise. That, a respectful group maybe would have done that, okay? Not saying some people aren't respectful, but in reality, the goal is, of course, to make more. You know what I mean? It's just, that's so easy to say because it's true. It really is true. The whole goal is to make more. But I would say that they did do a good enough job of not necessarily making Sam the greatest character in this movie, but making it so that she definitely can go through things and do things a lot different than what we've seen in the past for the next one. I've already given some of my theories for what I think Scream 6 could do with her, with other cast members, with, killing them off or, whatever, doing like a switcheroo. with Sam and Tara, but I think there's loads, and I started with Sam because she was, the main character, but Tara, I think, phenomenal character, the best character in this movie, including Sydney, Gale, and Dewey. I personally love Tara the most of that group. I think she's easily one of the best new additions that they've ever had. If you go back to like Scream 2 and you say, okay, who are the new people in each of these movies, Tara is easily towards the top, right? So you have that. You have Mindy. I mean, you really did, in my opinion, reclaim that Randy role, and you kept her alive. Good for you, right? So you really have a lot, and you've established a decent enough backstory with Sam and Tara's father and even their mom, right, being a drunk, where you could realistically do stuff in the future. You can keep going with it. Now, with Sydney and Gale, that's tough, right? I've talked about that in the past, too. Sydney and Gale are definitely tough when it comes to the next movie. You've left the door open where you could have them, and that's, to me, that's the thing, right? That's another aspect of, like, should you make it? Well, if you make it and you bring them back, they gotta be good reasons. They gotta be, or I guess good enough reasons, good enough to satisfy the fan base. You gotta give people the satisfaction of like, okay, these characters are not just going to come back because you need the money and you need these people marketing your movie. That probably is a big part of the behind-the-scenes stuff, right? Having Neve Campbell and Courtney Cox to continue to support your movie for the next movie, maybe the movie after, but at least the next one, that's probably a big deal. But you don't want it to come across that way. Do you know what I mean? Now you could say, by the way, a lot of these reasons I'm giving for continuing it, you could easily do the reverse. You could say, well, if you need them to support your movie, aren't you kind of like forcing them? Shouldn't that be? Yeah, I would. You know what I mean? If you want to be the antagonist here and go against it, I actually very much respect that. I think both sides are valid. I really, I do want more. Like I said, I definitely want more. Selfishly, from a fan of the franchise, I do have hope that they can do some cool, different stuff in the future. Also, I guess selfishly from like the channel, I mean, I've loved making these videos. I've loved the community. I don't want to give that up. You know what I mean? I mean, there'll be, so people will say, oh, so you want money or you want subscribers. I mean, yes, that's, I guess, part of it, but truly, realistically, it's been such a fun time doing this. I don't want to stop, and I'm not going to stop, by the way. I guess a little Easter egg here. But no, I want another one to be able to do this and continue this, right? Continue talking with people who love this franchise. And we only want what's best for it, right? We only, if there is a next movie, we would I would hope so, right? We'd only want it to be the best it can be. But that does, go again into some troubles, because I don't want, I guess my number one thing is I just don't want these movies to be made for the sake of making them. And you could argue 5 was like that. There definitely is a sense in 5 where I respect it. I respect it existing. I think it's a movie that like can be made or could have been made, and it was. But when you make the argument, like, did it absolutely need to exist? Like, did you need to make 5? Could you have left it at 4? You probably could have left it at 4. You know what I mean? So, but it wasn't super forced. I think it could have been a lot more forced. And they were making fun of themselves too, in the movie with the meta commentary. So I guess I just don't want it to go even deeper into that, where it's like, okay, these movies definitely aren't necessary, but we're doing it anyway to just suck the money dry. But again, to their credit, as I keep saying, I think they've done enough with Sam, specifically at the end, being like kind of unhinged. Tara as a new character and as a young actress with Jenna Ortega. This new, the Chad and Mindy, obviously, and leaving the door open for Sydney and Gale to keep going. I think they've done enough where they've had building blocks that not every other, well, I guess it's unfair to compare it to like 2 or 3, but like for 4, I think 4 is the better movie, but I actually think 5 has better building blocks for the future, whereas 4 doesn't. 4 actually has almost no building blocks because they kill almost everybody. You know what I mean? So that's what I would say in regards to that. So should it happen? Debatable. Do I want it to happen? Yeah, I'll support. Obviously, I mean, that could be a pretty obvious thing. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Make sure, as always, you guys are subscribed to the channel. Hit the bell icon so you guys know when all these videos go up. If you want to follow me anywhere else, all of my social media is in the description. Or if you want to support us on Patreon or YouTube memberships, links are also in the description. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope to see you all on the next video.